The scanners showed nothing. The patrol ship drifted in the dark void between stars, silent except for the hum of its engines. Every sensor confirmed the same result. No danger, no threat, just empty space. For them, that was enough. But one human sat inside the ship as a prisoner, his wrists bound with magnetic cuffs. His name was Captain Elias Ward, though the crew called him the Anomaly. He had been captured weeks ago during a failed human raid on a supply station. To the aliens, humans were not a real danger, only troublesome animals that sometimes caused noise. The guards didn't even watch him closely anymore. They thought humans were fragile, reckless, and easy to break. Their scanners had shown it. Weak bones, high emotional response, short lifespan. No threat. Elias sat in the corner of the holding cell, eyes fixed on the flickering lights above. His mind was racing. He had counted every vibration of the engines, memorized every corridor sound, and noted every time the guards changed shifts. The machines may have seen nothing, but his instincts whispered that something was coming. The crew relaxed. Some played cards, others shared food. Their commander, a tall, insect-like officer named Carrot, gave an order to dim the lights and reduce power. No dangers detected. The machines repeated in a calm voice. The words floated across the ship like a prayer. But the human's heartbeat quickened. He pressed his head against the cold wall, listening. Beyond the layers of metal, he thought he heard something different, something the machines ignored. A low, steady vibration, almost like claws scratching across the hull. He tried to stand, but the cuffs kept him down. The guard outside the cell chuckled when he saw him struggle. Pointless, the guard said in broken human speech. No threat here. You just imagine. Elias said nothing. He kept listening, trusted his instincts more than any machine. Minutes passed. Then, faintly, the ship trembled. The crew looked at their monitors. Nothing appeared. The sensors repeated the same line. No danger detected. No threat reported. The alien commander laughed softly, certain of safety. But then, a sudden echo rolled through the hull, like a heavy hand slamming against the ship's skin. The crew froze. Elias's eyes sharpened. It begins, he whispered. Karat barked an order. The crew rushed to their stations, but the scanners still showed nothing. Phantom reading, one officer said nervously. No ship detected. No weapon lock. The banging came again, louder. The hull groaned as if something crawled across it. Fear spread. The crew trusted their machines, but their ears and nerves told them otherwise. They argued, confused, trying to decide if the ship was malfunctioning. In his cell, Elias smiled faintly. He'd felt this before on human warships, during stealth maneuvers. Something was there. Something alive. The aliens couldn't see. It because their scanners didn't understand how humans acted in the void. Another crash shook the corridor. The lights flickered. Alarm started. Not from sensors, but from the ship's old emergency systems. The crew panicked. Elias leaned forward. His voice was calm, almost cold. You don't see it because you're looking the wrong way, he said through the bars. You trust machines too much. The danger doesn't always announce itself. Guard hissed at him to stay silent, but his trembling hands betrayed fear. Then the hull tore open. A sharp, grinding noise echoed through the corridors as a hidden boarding craft latched onto the patrol ship. No scanner had detected its approach. It moved too slow, too silent. Hidden in the shadows of drifting rocks, the crew screamed. Weapons were drawn, but it was too late. Intruders were already inside. In the chaos, the cell door power flickered. Elias twisted his wrists, forcing against the weakened locks until the cuffs snapped free. The guard raised his weapon, but Elias was faster. With one brutal motion, he disarmed him and struck him unconscious. The human stepped into the corridor. His eyes were sharp, his body tense. He moved like someone who had waited for this moment. The aliens shouted in panic. No threat detected. The machines still repeated as if mocking them, but the human was already in action. He knew the truth the scanners never could. Sometimes the most dangerous thing was not what the machines saw, but what they ignored. And in that silence, Captain Elias Ward became the real threat. The alien patrol ship shuddered as the intruders forced their way inside. Sparks sprayed across the corridors, alarms howled, and the calm voice of the scanners kept repeating the same useless line. No danger detected. No threat reported. The danger was everywhere now. Captain Elias Ward stepped out of the holding cell. His cuffs lay broken on the floor, and the unconscious guard slumped against the wall. Corridor stretched ahead of him, filled with shadows and flashing red lights. He moved quickly, his mind calculating. He didn't know who the intruders were, but he knew one thing. Chaos was his best chance to escape. Alien soldiers rushed past, weapons clutched in shaking hands. They were trained to trust their scanners, and now those scanners had betrayed them. Their fear made them clumsy. Elias kept low, slipping behind a panel of pipes as two guards ran by, shouting orders in their insect-like language. The first blast of gunfire echoed through the ship. Screams followed. Elias's heart pounded, but his face stayed calm. He moved closer to the noise, not away from it. He knew where intruders entered, chaos followed. And in chaos there were always opportunities. Around the corner, he saw them. Dark figures in armored suits, faces hidden behind black visors, moving with precision. They were not alien soldiers. Their movements were too sharp. Too human. Elias froze for a moment. Humans, they had come silently. Slipping past scanners, latching onto the patrol ship without warning, it was a tactic Elias knew well. Stealth boarding, slow, patient, invisible. No machine could detect it. Only instinct could. That was why the aliens never saw them coming. One of the armored humans fired a pulse round, cutting down 3 aliens in seconds. Another tossed a grenade that exploded with blinding light, forcing the insect-like crew into retreat. The boarding squad advanced step by step, unstoppable. Elias stepped into view. "Hold fire," he shouted in a strong voice. The armored figures turned instantly, weapons aimed at him. For a second, Elias felt the cold edge of death. Then one of them lowered his weapon. The voice that came through the helmet was rough but familiar. "Captain Ward." Elias allowed himself a rare smile. About time. The intruder pulled off his helmet, revealing a scarred human face. Lieutenant Mara Voss, one of his own, was supposed to be dead. Instead, she stood here leading the raid. "We tracked their patrol routes. Knew they had you. The scanners didn't see us coming." She tossed him a sidearm. "Can you fight?" Elias gripped the weapon with steady hands, always. The squad moved together. Elias fell into step, his instincts sliding back into place, as if no time had passed. The corridors filled with smoke and screams as humans pushed forward, cutting through alien resistance with ruthless precision. But Elias noticed something else. The alien commander Karat was not retreating blindly, moved with strange calm, giving orders that pulled soldiers into defensive lines. He wasn't panicked. He was buying time. Elias's gut twisted. "He's stalling," he muttered. "Something's coming." Mara frowned. "Eh? We've got the upper hand." "Not for long," Elias said. He could almost feel the shift in the air, like a storm about to break. Then the ship groaned. The metal beneath their feet vibrated with sudden force. The walls trembled, not from weapons fire, but from something deeper. Elias pressed a hand against the bulkhead and understood instantly. "They're triggering the failsafe," he said. The aliens had a last defensive capture was certain. They would destroy their own ship. A massive alarm blared, different from all the others. Red symbols flashed across the walls in alien script. The crew screamed in terror, but their commander remained still, watching. Mara turned to Elias, panic rising in her voice. "What does it mean?" Elias didn't hesitate. "Self-destruct. They'd rather burn than let us take this ship." The squad stiffened. They had minutes, maybe less. Elias's mind raced. He had studied alien designs. He knew their desperation codes, their control rooms. There was only one way to stop the destruction. "The core chamber," he said quickly. "We take it, we—" "Shut it down," Mara hesitated. "That's suicide. It's locked behind their command ring. Ilias's eyes hardened. Then we take their commander alive. Gunfire exploded again as more alien soldiers rushed the corridor. The humans fought. Back, step by step, but time was bleeding away. The hum of the engines grew unstable, shaking the ship as countdown systems armed themselves. Through the smoke, Elias caught sight of Karat, the insect commander, retreating toward the control chamber with guards around him. Elias raised his weapon. This was the moment. If he could capture Karat, they had a chance. If not, they would all burn in the void. His voice cut through the chaos. With me, we end this now. The humans surged forward, following their captain. Alien claws scraped metal, plasma blasts scorched walls, but Elias pushed ahead, faster, harder. His instincts screamed with urgency. For years, machines had said humans were no threat. But now, with fire, steel, and fury, Elias Ward proved the machines wrong, and as the countdown ticked away, one truth filled the corridor: the real danger had never been what scanners reported. The real danger had always been the human will to fight. The ship shook like a dying beast. Red lights pulsed across the corridors, and the low roar of the engines grew louder with each passing second. The aliens had set the self-destruct. Time was running out. Elias Ward pushed forward through smoke and fire. His boots pounded the metal floor, his weapon raised, eyes locked on the tall figure of Commander Karat. The alien leader moved with speed, his guards forming a wall of chitin and plasma rifles around him. He was heading straight for the control chamber, the one place Elias could not allow him to reach. "Don't let him escape," Elias shouted. The human squad surged with him, weapons blazing. Plasma bolts burned the walls, grenades burst with shockwaves, and screams filled the air. The aliens fought with desperate strength, their bodies falling one by one. But still they slowed the humans' advance. Elias slid behind a fallen bulkhead as fire scorched the corridor. The heat stung his skin, but he didn't flinch. He leaned out and fired 2 sharp shots. One alien fell, its limbs twitching. Another charged claws raised, but Mara cut it down with a precise burst. Still, Karat pressed on. His compound eyes reflected the flashing alarms, his sharp voice commanding his soldiers to fight harder, to buy him more time. He was close now, almost at the blast doors of the core chamber. Ilias's instincts screamed. If Karat reached that room, they would never stop the countdown. He broke cover and ran. The corridor was a storm of fire and death. Elias sprinted through it, weaving between blasts, feeling the rush of air as plasma bolts tore past him. He closed the distance, his heart hammering, his weapon steady. Karat turned his head, his mandibles clicking in surprise. For the first time, fear flickered in the alien's eyes. Ilias leaped. He slammed into Karat, driving him hard against the bulkhead. The alien snarled, striking with claws that ripped across Elias's arm. Pain burned, but Elias didn't stop. He locked his arm around Karat's throat and shoved his pistol against the alien's head. "End it," Elias growled. "Shut it down," Karat hissed, his mandibles dripping with venom. "You think you can stop this? We would rather burn than kneel to humans." Elias pressed harder. "Then you burn with us." The alien struggled, claws slashing, but Elias's grip was iron. Mara and 2 soldiers rushed up, weapons aimed at the remaining guards. The last aliens hesitated, then dropped their rifles as the humans cut them down with merciless fire. Karat screeched, but Elias dragged him forward, gun tight against his head. He forced the commander toward the blast doors. The chamber recognized its master, scanning Karat's body. The locks opened with a hiss. Inside, the control chamber pulsed with blue light. The self-destruct countdown glowed across the central display. Numbers ticked lower. 5 minutes left. Ilias shoved Karat toward the console, shut it off. The alien spat. "Never." Ilias's voice was ice. "You don't understand. I'm not asking." He pulled Karat's arm and slammed it down. Against the biometric reader, the system recognized the commander's signal. The screen flickered. New options appeared. Override codes, command sequences. Mara's hands flew across the console, her voice sharp. I can stop it, but I need his key sequence. Elias shoved Karat closer. Do it now. Karat hissed with defiance. You humans cannot win. Even if this ship survives, the fleet will come. You are nothing but Elias slammed his pistol against the alien's mandibles, cracking them. Code the alien's pride broke. With a hiss, he entered the sequence. The screen changed, the countdown slowing but not stopping. Mara's face tightened. It's locked deeper. Secondary failsafe. He started a chain reaction. Elias cursed. How long? Elias said. Elias's mind raced. The ship groaned around them, metal straining as the engines built toward overload. They couldn't stop it in time. It's not with normal methods. Unless his eyes narrowed at the glowing core chamber. He remembered old reports, details from captured wreckage. The alien failsafe wasn't perfect. It could be forced, not disabled, but redirected. Mara, he said, we don't stop the destruction. Control it. Her eyes widened. We mean turn the explosion outward? Into a weapon? Elias nodded. If we aim it, we take their reinforcements with us. The chamber shook again. The crew exchanged tense glances. It was madness, a suicide plan. But Elias's voice cut through their fear. I think humans can't fight without machines telling them what's safe. They're wrong. We fight with will, with choice. That's what they'll never see coming. The humans worked fast, forcing Karat's trembling hands onto every key they needed. The alien screamed in rage, but his codes unlocked the final sequence. Mara rerouted the failsafe, her face lit by the glow of the console. 1 minute left. The walls rattled. Fire spread. The air grew hot with the taste of burning metal. Elias stood tall, his hand gripping his weapon, his eyes fixed on the display. The countdown ticked lower. 0:45, 0:30. The ship was about to die. But Elias Ward wasn't thinking of survival. He was thinking of what message this act would send across the stars. Humans were not harmless. Humans were not a mistake. They were the danger the scanners could never measure. The countdown ticked. Toward 0. The ship roared like a beast in pain, its walls splitting, its engines screaming as energy built to the breaking point. Fire spilled into the corridors. Smoke filled the air. The alarms howled louder than ever. Elias Ward stood in the core chamber, his face lit by the red glow of the failing systems. The alien commander, Karat, struggled against the soldiers, holding him down, his mandibles clacking with rage. You will burn with us, human. All of you. Ilias's voice cut back sharp. You'll burn for us. The timer reached the final seconds. 0 minutes, 5 seconds, and 0 milliseconds. 4. Mara's hands flew over the console, locking in the last commands. Her voice shook but stayed firm. Reroute. Complete. It won't stop the blast, but it will aim it. Elias gave a single nod. Then let it speak for us. Numbers flashed 001. Then dash silence. The ship detonated. The void of space lit up like a newborn star. The explosion tore outward in a blinding wave, ripping the patrol ship apart. Fragments spun across the darkness, glowing red-hot as they scattered. But the force wasn't wild. It was shaped, focused, directed like a spear of fire. A nearby alien cruiser, answering Karat's distress signal, never had a chance. The redirected blast slammed into its hull, tearing through shields, splitting it in two. Drifted in silence. Lifeless. The shockwave carried further, scattering smaller ships that had begun to gather. What should have been a simple patrol, what the aliens thought was safe, had become a graveyard of twisted steel. Inside the burning wreck of the patrol ship, one section survived. A reinforced boarding craft broke free at the last moment, engines screaming as it blasted away from the destruction. Inside were Elias, Mara, and the surviving human squad. They had escaped through fire, riding the edge of death. The humans were bruised, burned, and bloodied, but alive. Smoke filled the cramped craft. Sparks rained from broken panels. Mara slumped against a wall, coughing hard.
Yes. We actually...
Did it? Elias didn't answer. He stared out the viewport at the drifting remains of alien warships, his jaw set. The explosion wasn't just survival, it was a message. The galaxy would hear of this. Karat was still alive, bound in chains. At the back of the craft, his once proud posture had broken. His compound eyes reflected the burning wreckage of his people's ships. "You are monsters," he hissed. Elias turned his cold gaze on him. "No, we're human. That's worse for you." The craft sped into the dark, vanishing before reinforcements could catch them. Hours later, across alien channels, the story spread like wildfire. A patrol ship destroyed. A cruiser obliterated. All by one human captain and a squad the scanners had dismissed as weak. The reports said the same thing, over and over. No danger detected, no threat reported, till the humans acted. Panic rippled through the alien fleets. Their commanders demanded answers. Their machines showed no record of human weapons capable of such destruction. Their data had no logic for it. How could something their scanners dismissed as insignificant turn into a storm that killed hundreds? Some refused to believe it. Malfunction. They said accident, but whispers grew louder. It's whispers that humans could not be measured, that humans could not be predicted, that humans were the one danger machines could not understand. Meanwhile, in the hidden corners of space, human survivors celebrated. Word of Elias Ward's escape spread through resistance cells and outposts. To them, it was more than victory. It was proof. It's proof that humans were not prey. Proof that even the strongest fleets could bleed. On board the cramped boarding craft, Elias sat in silence, watching the stars streak by as they escaped deeper into uncharted void. Out. Mara sat across from him, her eyes filled with exhaustion and pride. "Captain, what now?" Elias's voice was quiet, but his words carried iron. "Now they start to fear us. Now fear is a weapon stronger than any scanner." Behind him, Karat hissed, but there was no confidence left in his voice, only dread. The galaxy had seen an explosion, but Elias knew this was only the beginning. A spark had been lit and soon fire would spread across the stars, and when it did, no machine, no scanner, no report would ever again dare to say no danger detected. The galaxy stirred like a nest of hornets. The explosion of the patrol ship and the destruction of a cruiser were more than just losses. They were humiliation. Alien commanders gathered in shadowed war councils, their voices sharp, their mandibles clicking with rage. "One human did this," they spat. "One ship, one squad. And our machines saw nothing." They replayed the sensor data again and again, searching for clues. The scanners showed emptiness. No threat detected. No danger reported. And yet, the wreckage of their ships floated in silence. For the first time in generations, doubt crept into their minds. Elias Ward had become a name that spread fast. Soldiers whispered it. Officers cursed it. Some called him the Ghost Captain. Others named him the Error because no machine could explain how he survived. Fleet Command gave its order. Elias must be found. Not just killed, captured, studied. They needed to know why their machines could not see him, and so the hunt began. Massive cruisers spread across sectors. Patrols doubled. Every signal was analyzed, every shadow scanned. But machines still found nothing. The humans moved like whispers, hiding in wreckage fields, drifting in dead zones where no scanners reached. Fear grew sharper with every failed report. Inside their stolen boarding craft, Elias and his squad kept moving. Supplies were low, systems failing, but their spirits were strong.
Ow.
They had done the impossible once. Now every step was war. Karat, still their prisoner, sat chained in the corner. His once proud eyes now held bitterness. "You think this victory means something?" he hissed. "The fleets are endless. You are few. You'll be hunted, torn apart, erased." Leah studied him calmly. "You don't understand. We don't need to fight every ship. We just need every ship to fear us." Mara leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Fear spreads faster than fleets. They will doubt their scanners. They will doubt their commanders, and doubt breaks armies. Elias nodded. His mind was already shaping the war ahead. Humans could never match the aliens ship for ship, but they could strike where machines failed. They could move where scanners saw nothing. They could become the danger that data could not measure. Days later, in a quiet asteroid belt, Elias set his first trap. The squad lured a patrol frigate into the rocks. The scanners reported only debris, no human presence. But from the shadows, Elias's craft drifted silently, waiting. At the perfect moment, they struck. Explosives hidden in the rocks ignited. Tearing the frigate apart before it even fired a shot, again the report spread. No danger detected, no threat reported, yet another ship destroyed. Commanders shouted, scanners were recalibrated, systems were updated, but it didn't matter. Machines could not sense instinct. Machines could not predict human will. Each victory was small, a frigate here, a patrol there. But the effect was vast. Fleets began hesitating to travel alone. Convoys slowed, waiting for escorts. Every shadow, every piece of drifting metal became suspicious. Soldiers jumped at phantom signals. Fear gnawed at discipline. Karat watched all this with growing horror. He realized the truth too late. It wasn't weapons that made humans dangerous. It was unpredictability. No machine could cage them. No program could understand them. They were the one variable that shattered logic. One night, the dim light of the boarding craft, Mara asked Elias a quiet question. "Do you think we can really win? Against all of them?" Elias didn't answer immediately. He looked out the viewport at the endless dark, his reflection staring back at him. Finally, he said, "Maybe not by force. But wars aren't always won by who has more ships. Wars are won by who breaks first." His voice hardened, "And I intend to break them." The boarding craft drifted on into the void, carrying its tired crew, its silent prisoner, and its captain whose name was becoming legend. Behind them, the galaxy's great fleets grew restless. They had the numbers, the weapons, the machines. But now they also had fear, and fear was Elias, Ward's greatest ally. The ship trembled, as if the void itself rejected its presence. Lights flickered, shadows stretched across the steel walls, and alarms pulsed like a heartbeat. Elias stood on the bridge, staring at the holographic display. The alien fleet was there. Dozens of ships, each larger than cities, hung in the dark. Their shapes were wrong spines, curves, and angles that seemed alive. The sight made the crew shiver. "Why aren't they attacking?" whispered Mara. No one answered. The aliens simply waited, watching, studying. Elias clenched his fists. He had faced storms, betrayals, and prisons. But this silence was worse than any battle. Then the sound came. Not through speakers, not through translation systems, but inside. Their skulls, a deep echoing voice, layered with thousands of whispers. "You were not meant to escape. Yet here you stand, human." The crew staggered. Some covered their ears, though it made no difference. The voice wasn't in the air, it was in their minds. Elias stood tall. "What do you want from us?" The answer was chilling. "To see if your kind can endure what no others have, to see if you are worth fearing." The fleet shifted. Slowly, carefully, like predators circling prey. Mara slammed her hands on the console. "They're playing with us," the ship's AI confirmed. Her fear energy readings suggest restraint. "They are holding back." Elias's jaw tightened. The aliens weren't testing the ship. They were testing humanity. A sudden flash tore across the void. One alien vessel fired, not at Ilias's ship, but at a nearby moon. The rock exploded, shattering into a storm of fire and debris. The crew gasped as burning fragments lit the dark. "That is the cost of weakness," the voice whispered. "Survive this, if you can."
How?
The debris cloud rushed toward them. Glowing magma and superheated dust-filled space like a storm of knives, shields up. Elias barked. The ship groaned as the storm hit. Rocks slammed against the hull. Flames licked across the shield. Warning lights flared red. The ship shook so violently it felt like the bones of a giant were breaking. Mara's voice cracked. Shield. Failing 30%. Elias gritted his teeth. Divert everything. Life support. Weapons, everything into the shield. The crew hesitated. To cut life support was madness. To shut down weapons was suicide. But Elias's voice was iron. They obeyed. Darkness swallowed the ship. Oxygen thinned. The bridge fell silent, except for the groan of metal. But the shield held. The storm passed. Slowly, light returned. The ship still lived. The alien fleet did not move, but the voice returned. Interesting. You endure, but endurance is not enough, Elias whispered to himself almost like a prayer. Then we'll show you what humans do when pushed. Mara looked at him. Elias, we can't win against all of them. Maybe not, he said. His eyes burned with defiance. But if they want to test humanity, we'll make them regret it. The crew, weary and afraid, still felt something stir inside them, a spark, a fire. Because Elias wasn't only speaking to them, he was speaking to every human across the stars, and the aliens knew it. The fleet began to shift again. More weapons glowed to life. The real battle was coming. The bridge lights steadied. Oxygen slowly returned. The AI whispered, Captain, we are outnumbered 20-1. Elias gave a thin smile. Good, then they won't escape when we strike back. Crew stared at him in silence. For the first time since the nightmare began, someone somewhere felt hope, and the aliens felt it too. The universe burned. Everywhere, ships drifted, broken and torn, the wreckage of 1,000 battles. The alien armadas had thrown everything into the fight, dreadnoughts, swarms, even weapons forbidden by their own laws. But the humans did not stop. They could not stop. Elias stood at the center of it all, his body bruised and burned, but his eyes burning brighter than any star. Around him, the Titan warship answered only to his command. Its engines pulsed like the heartbeat of a beast. Its weapons howled like storms. The ship was no longer metal. It was alive. It was human will forged into steel. The enemy flagship appeared before them, a monster of a vessel, larger than cities, older than human memory. Its hull glowed with alien runes, its core powered by stolen suns. Across the coms, alien voices screamed, calling humans vermin, calling them cursed, yet their screams shook with fear. Elias gave no speech. He only whispered one word: fire. The Titan unleashed everything. Beams tore through void. Missiles screamed. Kinetic rods cracked the ship's ancient armor. The alien vessel answered with black fire and gravity storms, tearing chunks of reality itself. Space folded, stars shuddered, the battlefield shook, as though the universe itself wanted to end. But the Titan endured. It was built from Deathworld iron, from Earth's storms, from oceans that had never forgiven intruders. Every hit that should have broken it only made it rage harder. Inside, the crew fought like demons. Some were wounded, some half dead, but none left their stations. They had all heard the final message from Earth. If you fall, humanity falls with you. Hold the line. The alien flagship split apart with a scream that echoed across frequencies no human ear should hear. But even as it died, more fleets came, dozens, hundreds, blotting out stars. Humanity was outnumbered 1,000 times. No one should have survived, and yet they did, because something new awakened. Inside the Titan, it was not just engines or weapons anymore. It was the voices of every human who had died in this war. Their memory, their fury, their love. The ship roared with the power of ghosts. Elias felt them in his veins. Soldiers, mothers, children, billions, who had suffered at alien hands. There. Well, fused with his, humanity was no longer a single species. Humanity had become a storm. The next volley did not just destroy ships, it erased them. The Titan cut through fleets like paper. Missiles became meteors, beams became suns. Every blast carried the weight of a species that refused to kneel. The galaxy trembled. Whole empires that once laughed at humanity now watched in silence, their fleets backing away, their rulers whispering in fear. No one had believed humans would survive the deadliest planet. No one had believed they would rise after exile, after betrayal, after slaughter. Now no one doubted the last alien fleet broke. Ships scattered, fleeing into the black, their commanders screaming that no price was worth facing humans again. The war that was meant to end humanity ended something far greater. The illusion that humans were weak. Elias stood on the bridge, chest heaving. The stars outside were quiet, littered only with drifting wreckage and the faint light of burning worlds. He knew what this meant. Humanity had won, but the galaxy would never forget the price. He looked at his crew, bloodied but alive. He looked at the Titan, scarred but unbroken. And then he spoke the words that would echo for centuries. They thought we were prey. They thought we were broken. But we are Deathworlders. We are human. And we will never bow. The message was broadcast across every surviving channel. Billions heard it. Billions felt it. And the galaxy changed forever. In the dark silence of space, the Titan drifted forward, wounded but undefeated. Its engines glowed, its hull still, burned, and its shadow stretched across the stars like a warning. The war was over. But the legend of humanity had just begun.